Hey, so this might be the first clip in my week in my life vlog that I want to make. So today's Sunday, so I filmed my last video yesterday. My partner is supposed to leave in about an hour and a half to go to New York, as I explained, except for the second time something went wrong with his booking. It's not clear what it is, but his flight is cancelled and they're telling him that like he can't find his reservation, basically his booking, and they're saying that it's because of his card that his booking got cancelled. But it's the second time now and he didn't even get notified every time. They just remove his booking without notifying him. We found out because I went on Flight Radar 24 to find his flight because I wanted to track it, and it said that the flight was cancelled and we didn't even know. So he's still going. We had a moment where we were like, is he gonna go? Is he not gonna go? And it's the second time that this has happened in the last few days. So the emotional roller coaster is like, because him going or not going obviously makes a huge difference for him, you know, this week. But it also makes a huge difference for me this week, because him being here or not being here, my week is gonna look very different either way. So I like to know these things a little bit ahead of time. The way things are now, he is going to go to Paris, at least take his train to Paris and figure it out at the airport. The thing is, his work, the people at his work that he's been, you know, corresponding with to plan this thing, they're still sleeping because it's like 5 a.m. there right now, so he can't really talk to them about booking another flight or whatever. So he's gonna go to Paris and figure it out there, and he's not sure if he's gonna leave today or tomorrow. He's gonna have to find another flight, so that's been fun. So I was like, I basically didn't know what to do with myself this morning because my partner was trying to figure it all out, and I was like, what does that mean for this week? Like, are you gonna be here? Are you not gonna be here? Like, just the uncertainty of it all, you know? Even though it is cooler today, the air is so heavy, you know, like when it's stormy outside. Like, it's very cloudy today. It is technically only 23 or 24 degrees, but it feels much warmer because I don't know, the air is so heavy. The temperatures were supposed to be cooler this week, and I looked at the weather forecast this earlier, and it looks like the temperatures have gone back up slightly. It's not going to be as cool as I thought this week, which that on top of the uncertainties around my partner's flight is kind of weighing on me emotionally. I was struggling last night again. In the evening is when I struggle the most, I think, because I'm so overwhelmed by the constant heat. There's just so much to deal with on a sensory level. It's like a constant overstimulation, you know, that you can't get away from. Even at night, you're not sleeping well because once you're finally able to fall asleep, then you keep waking up and you're sweating and you're like, I feel so gross all the time, even though I shower like twice a day. But we did try the pool for the first time last night. That was fun, except the water was so warm that it didn't really feel refreshing. But we're gonna create some shade, hopefully, so that the water doesn't get this hot, because otherwise there's no point if the water is as hot as the air. But it was really fun getting to swim in it for the first time, and I'm glad that my partner was able to test it out before leaving. It just adds a lot of things to do, you know, like for the maintenance and everything, making sure the chlorine levels, pH levels always remain roughly the same, and making sure the pool is clean, and cleaning the pump filter, and making sure the pump runs for at least 6 hours every day. It's just a lot to think about on top of like the regular daily things that start piling up. Yeah, and I'm not gonna have any help this week to do any chores. That's always nice. You can see my underwear in the background. Why not? I mean, the house is a mess, so Well, you'll probably see that later on in the vlog, probably. The house is always a mess. I literally don't understand how people are able to maintain a tidy house. I just don't get it. Especially when you have executive dysfunction and chronic fatigue. Like, if you're able to maintain a tidy house, I'm so impressed. Tidy and clean, obviously, but the clean bit is like obviously not there. Like, the house is not tidy or clean. Like, I don't need to specify that. I think it's obvious. There's a lot to do, not a lot of energy to do it. The heat on top of it just makes everything 100 times harder. Honestly, yeah, depresses me a lot. It makes me want to run away from my body, run away from this place to a cooler place. It's unbearable. And it's gonna be like that more or less until mid to late September, because like apart from a few cooler days here and there, it's gonna be mostly like above between 25 and 40 degrees all summer basically. And I still don't know how I'm gonna survive that. Obviously I will. I'm not looking forward to it. I know it's gonna be really hard mentally. Yeah, it's already a huge struggle right now, and summer only just started technically yesterday. Doesn't bode well. Alright, I don't know if you can see me well. If you can't, maybe at least you can hear me. That's better than nothing. So my partner just left. That's a random t-shirt. I don't know if it's clean or not. My partner just left. And so of course I cried, because I always cry. If you can hear flies, that's because that's another thing with the summer. Because there are so many things super annoying in the summer is flies. Flies everywhere. Flies laying their eggs in our cat's food. So then we have to throw away the food or find a way to cover the food so the flies can't get in. But then the cats can't get in either. It's great. I have tried using a trap for the flies, but as soon as I started seeing flies getting stuck, because it's one of those things that they get stuck to, you know, it's got some sort of glue on it. As soon as I started seeing flies getting stuck, agonizing and stuff, my empathy took over, and I was like, this is cruelty. This is animal cruelty. So it was too inhumane to me. So I took it down. I just got dressed because I was in my PJs before, and now I'm starting to clean / tidy up downstairs at least a bit, so that it's not as overwhelming. I'm definitely not going to be able to do everything today because there's a lot to do, and I definitely don't have the energy to do all, if not most of it. So I am going to be alone for the next week, unless something goes wrong with my partner and he has to come home. Something goes wrong with his flight, I mean. I would usually like lift up my shirt and like make it into a tank top situation so my belly can breathe and it's more bearable, but I'm not going to do that on camera because I'm not comfortable with my body. I'm just gonna suffocate or do it off camera. But I'm already sweating my butt off, and I've only just started. We're off to a great start. No idea how much I'll be able to get done, but anything is better than nothing. The waste, like garbage collection service, was not working for a couple weeks. They were on strike, which is so common in France, which meant that for a couple weeks all of the garbage was piling up in the streets, not getting picked up, and it was stinking obviously because it was hot. But now it's working again, but we have so much recycling stuff that's accumulated. No, you're so naughty, and now you're stuck. Don't steal your brother's food. Just gonna give my cat some food because he was just stealing from his brother because he couldn't finish his food this morning because of the flies. Literally, like, you forget about it for a minute and you already have flies laying their eggs in the meat. And so of course when that happens I throw it away. So then he didn't have his full meal this morning. He eats 3 times a day basically, so it's been such a struggle because he likes to eat a lot and his brother doesn't eat a lot, lately at least, because they're constantly changing, rolling, you know. Lately his brother hasn't been eating enough and he's been eating too much basically and stealing his brother's food. They're not actually brothers, by the way, I say that because it's cute. So we've been trying to get him to eat less because he was a bit overweight and get his brother to eat more because he's slightly underweight. So that's been a struggle. And we always ended up with food waste, having to throw away the cat food. So yeah, there's a ton of recycling waste in here that I'm gonna have to handle in a few days for the next recycling collection. And then we also have a ton of glass because glass has to be thrown away in a different spot, and we haven't done it also in a while also because they weren't collecting it. So there were bags full of glass bottles and stuff piled up around the bin, the collection bin. So we also have tons of bottles, glass bottles, and glass in general. I don't really have the energy to be doing this, to be honest, but the way everything is right now was kind of depressing me. I thought I'd put some things away, like tidy up a bit, just so that it's slightly more livable, especially in the coming week, because I'm gonna be alone. I'm gonna suffer from the heat and stuff. It's already overwhelming enough as it is, so if I can just make things slightly more bearable for myself by not having such a mess everywhere. But I'll definitely not be able to do everything right now. That's too much and I don't have the energy and I'm already sweating like crazy. So the bin is full, so let me put a new bag in. By the way, if you see any Harry Potter merch on the walls or elsewhere in the house, it's either at least 3 years old or it's from independent businesses that don't contribute to enriching J.K. Rowling, basically. Because, as I said in one of my last posts, and I'll probably make a video about it as well, I'm making sure I don't contribute to her financially in any ways anymore, because I don't want to indirectly contribute to stigmatizing a whole marginalized group of the population. So yeah, just so you know, it's not new or it's not official much, you know. This is gonna make things easier for myself, so I'm glad I'm doing this, even if I don't really have the energy to do it. Sorry, I'm gonna be out of the frame for a lot of this portion of the video, so as long as you can hear me, it's fine. There's not much to look at anyway. I'm just putting a new bin bag in the bin. Honestly, I don't know if days like today are much better than full-on heat wave type days, because it might be slightly less hot, because I think the hottest it's gonna be today is like 30 instead of 35, 36, which we've had these last few days. But it's so, because it's like this stormy atmosphere and the sky is all cloudy, it creates, like I said, this heaviness in the air that just is stifling, makes you sweat just as hard. Like, I don't know what I prefer, hotter weather, but that isn't where the air isn't so heavy, or I don't know. Because right now I'm dripping. I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to focus on what I'm doing and speak at the same time. It's an art form. We got this new game a couple of days ago when we went into town. So excited to try that. We haven't tried it yet. Just trying to make it livable in here again, you know. Hey, it's the next day, so Monday. I don't know what my hair is doing, but we don't care. Hang on, let me turn this around. Yeah, that's better for some reason. It's almost 1 p.m. and I'm gonna make myself some lunch. Well, technically I already have my lunch. It's basically leftovers from last night's dinner, but I'm gonna heat it up. So come with me to the kitchen. I only started this vlog yesterday, but I already feel like I haven't filmed as much as I would like. Can you see all the fruit flies, I think they're called? Because we've got a bowl of fruit here. Whatever. It looks really filthy when you see a bunch of insects flying around in the kitchen, but don't mind that. So yeah, I was saying I feel like I haven't been filming as much as I wanted to since yesterday, but I think it's partly because I've realized that filming videos, talking to the camera like this, there's an element of masking involved. It does feel like, to some extent, I have to sort of monitor what I say and how I present myself and how I come across, more than if I were talking to my partner. You know what I mean? Like, by the way, this is what I'm having. I made spaghetti last night with a ready-made sauce. Yeah, it's basically olive and tomatoes. I love olives. I made a portion that I usually make for 2 people. It's easier for me to cook for 2 people because that's what I'm used to. And then eat half of it and then, you know, but I didn't eat half of it. I ate maybe a third of it, not even that, because I was having anxiety again last night. My stomach has been upset also since yesterday from all the anxiety and stuff. So I'm gonna heat this up now. And I also made my own version of a Greek salad with feta cheese, cucumbers, tomatoes, some seeds, some olive oil, and balsamic vinegar. So I'm gonna finish that as well. So let me put this in the microwave real quick. For the longest time, we didn't have a microwave in... This is the first house that we've had, I think, since my partner and I moved in together about 8 years ago. This is the first house where we've had a microwave. And it does help. It is convenient. Last night I was having a lot of anxiety again. As I said, I've been having these spikes of anxiety and low mood at night. So I had that again last night. I was kind of dreading it because my partner's away and I didn't know how I was gonna deal with it on my own, basically, because in those moments, and this is just a phase, right? It's not something that I experience long term. I have phases where my mental health gets worse for whatever reason. At the moment, I think one of the main culprits definitely is the heat, the current weather, the current climate and stuff. That gets to me a lot. I have phases where my mental health gets worse, and right now every night is a struggle. I want to say from around 9 p.m. until maybe 11, and then it gets better later on that night for some reason. But I have this peak of anxiety and low mood where I get some pretty dark thoughts, okay? Every day at this moment, I get pretty dark thoughts about not wanting to be here anymore and stuff like that. It's not anything that, I forget what it's called, but there are 2 types of suicidal thoughts, right? There are the ones that are like legit, and not that the other one isn't legit, but the ones that are more dangerous, and the ones that are more that neurodivergent people experience often, which is exhaustion, like mental exhaustion of like, I don't want to keep doing this, but there's no real wish to die. It's more of like, you want to escape your condition, your situation, and yeah. So I experience that daily at the moment, which is always fun. And so usually my partner is my biggest support in those moments. So not having him with me in those moments is definitely hard. So we were on the phone last night for quite a bit. Basically, he was supposed to get on his plane yesterday, but as I said, there was a problem. There was a problem with his card or whatever, his works card, whatever. So both times that he booked a plane ticket, the booking was cancelled and he wasn't even told about it. And his flight was cancelled as well. So basically he went to Paris yesterday and slept at the hotel in the airport. Today at around 9:30 he got on another plane to New York with a different company. And so he's been on his plane for like about 3 hours. Yes, I know. Oh my god. So he's been on his plane for about 3 hours. And yeah, so that's also a little bit stressful because he's basically, it's an 8-hour flight, you know, more or less. Which means that he's basically unreachable until 5:30 this afternoon. That stresses me out again because I'm like, if something goes wrong or whatever, like I can't even reach him for 8 hours. So it's fine when it's a short flight, you know. For the first time in our relationships since we've been together, one of us is on a long haul flight, and so that's new. That's a new experience for me to be on the other side of that and not be able to reach him for 8 hours pretty much all day today. So that's something I've been grappling with. But yeah, so last night we were on the phone for a good while because I was so overwhelmed and there was a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of stuff to do at night. Get the cats in before the sun sets, and one of our youngest cat sometimes doesn't want to come home. So it's easier when it's two of us to try and get him inside the house, but having to deal with that on my own was more difficult, you know. So that was stressful. The sun was setting. I was trying to get the cat inside the house, and I also had to cover the pool, turn off the pump, and do all that stuff, and water the plants outside. It was just a lot, and there was some laundry, you know, that I needed to take care of as well, take out of the washing machine and stuff. So that was a lot, and I was definitely freaking out last night. My partner stayed on the phone for longer than we intended because he had to get up at like 5:30 this morning. You know, I didn't want to keep him, but also it's in those moments when I feel that low and that overwhelmed and stuff, and I get those dark thoughts and I'm on my own. He's my only support. And I have a lot of guilt around that, and it's something that I've been experiencing since the beginning of our relationship. Is in those moments when I need a lot of emotional support, he's the only one there, you know? And it feels like I'm putting too much responsibility on him, you know, too much weight on him. And I do feel like a burden often, like a lot of disabled people, because I don't want to keep him up for longer than he needs to, than he should. And because then he's going to be tired in the morning to catch his flight, you know? But also he can see that I'm struggling. And so he's like, no, but I'll stay on the phone with you and stuff. I'm very thankful, and it does help a lot because I literally don't have anyone else to talk to in those moments. But I also feel incredibly guilty and like a burden, trying to grapple with these feelings, I guess. Let me eat something before it goes cold. Do any of you experience this where, because I have sensitive teeth, I struggle to switch from, like, if I have a hot dish and a cold dish, I can't switch between the two every bite. I have to, because if I do, it hurts my teeth every time. So, and I do use like toothpastes for sensitive teeth and stuff, but I'm gonna eat for a bit. I'm gonna mix up this pasta, pop it back in the microwave because I can't remember who it was. No, it was Irene from the Thought Spot who was saying how ridiculous how ridiculous it is that microwaves are so behind in terms of technology that they can't warm things up evenly. But then on the other hand, we have some super high-tech weapons that we use for the war and stuff, but we don't even have basic stuff to warm up our food evenly, which I thought was pretty accurate. So yeah, as I was saying, I struggle to just pick up the camera and go about my day and film whatever I'm doing. It feels like I have to really put a lot of focus into talking to the camera, so it's not very natural, and there's some masking involved. There is some monitoring, maybe not masking, but there is some monitoring of my behavior involved, because I know I'm gonna be perceived by people on the internet. You know, like there's an element of vulnerability that makes it so that I'm not entirely myself, you know, like I am, but also not quite. Yeah, just wanted to put that out there. Ooh, that's cold. Oh, also, I was saying that basically since it got hot, we've been sleeping downstairs because it's cooler, okay? In terms of temperature, not in terms of style. But the thing is, it wasn't a good calculation because yes, it might be a couple degrees cooler than upstairs, or even more than a couple degrees, okay? It gets really warm up there. But the thing is, everything else is worse downstairs. Like I said in my last video, it stinks in there for some reason. There's always a lot of humidity. There's no mosquito net on the window, which there is upstairs because I installed one in the spring. So we can't just keep the window open without mosquitoes getting in or cats getting out. The bed is not comfortable. The room is not cozy. I don't have like my familiar cozy setup that I have upstairs. I just don't like it. And to be honest, the change and the fact that I don't like the new room was also, I think, greatly contributing to my mental health struggles that I've had lately. Because on top of having to deal with this difficult weather and all the sensory overwhelm that comes from it, I also had to deal with sleeping every night in a room that didn't make me feel good. So I was dreading going to sleep, which probably didn't help with like the low mood and anxiety at night. I'm wearing shorts, by the way, because it looks like I'm naked when I do that. But I always have to have one leg propped up somehow. I can't just be sitting with my feet on the floor. And then, yeah, it looks like I'm naked. I'm not. But also, I'm in my own home. So if I want to be naked, you can't tell me anything. Especially because all the blinds are closed. So no one can see me from the outside. So yeah, it was probably contributing negatively to my mental health. Affecting my mental health negatively. So last night, in a bit of a like spur of the moment kind of way, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna relocate upstairs to the upstairs bedroom because the thought of having to go sleep in that room on my own last night, I was like, I'd rather endure the heat upstairs, especially since now we have a portable AC, which I'm gonna show you. We have this portable AC unit. It's not the best, okay? Like, it does the job kind of at this moment, but it's not great. So basically, you put water here at the top, and the problem is it's very tall and there's a lot of weight at the top, and the base, for some reason they thought it was a good idea to not make the base very stable. So I have spilled this many times already since we've had it, and also it's a bit buggy, but maybe it's because I spilled it, I don't know. But basically, well, it has to be plugged in at all times to be used, okay? There's no battery in it. The light stays on because there's a light that turns on with like colors that alternate, which is nice, but sometimes it can be a bit intense. Last night it was blinding me a bit. So you can't turn off the light. There's a misting option, so that's nice. That's where the water comes in. And you can put a timer for like turn off after 2 hours, 4 hours, and then the different strengths of the airflow. So that's been helpful in some ways, although it's not always ideal. But I was thinking, like, with this thing and the fact that I can keep the window open all night upstairs because there's a mosquito net, probably makes the upstairs bedroom overall a better option than the downstairs bedroom because it doesn't make me feel as depressed and anxious. It doesn't stink of humidity and all that good stuff. So, and it's familiar and cozy, and like, so I was like, fuck it, I'm taking all my stuff back upstairs. So that's what I did yesterday, and I was like, I'm gonna make myself a nice dinner and I'm gonna watch a nice movie. So I started my Lord of the Rings marathon. The last one I did was 3 months ago. I was saying how, depending on my emotional needs, I do movie marathons of my favorite franchises about once every 3 to 6 months. So I started watching that last night. I couldn't get very far because I was so anxious, but I'm gonna continue today. And so yeah, so I slept upstairs last night. I think I slept from about 1 or 2 a.m. all the way until 11 a.m. this morning. And I slept so much better than I did downstairs. So I'm glad I did that. When I first came in the room last night, it was like 29 degrees. So I was like, oops, did I make a bad decision here? But I opened all the windows and I was able to drop the temperature all the way back down to about 24, and then slowly crept back for some reason. So slowly crept back to 25 overnight. I can manage, you know, especially with the AC, I can manage that kind of temperature because everything else is nice, you know. It's the emotional element also helps with dealing with sensory discomfort and stuff. So I think I made the right decision. We'll see how I feel when the temperatures go back up, because it's a little bit cooler these days. We'll see if it is bearable above 35 degrees up there. Last night I went out on the terrace for a bit to play some solitaire. Is that what it's called in English? It's like a one-person card game basically. And I was listening to ASMR and I called my partner for a bit and I was drinking my mint tea and stuff. And it was super cool and I was able to relax a bit. And then, you know, you start hearing noises at night and I'm already scared when my partner is here, but I freaked myself out basically because you have the sounds of the wind in the leaves and animals around, like there's a lot of cats around, and then you've got people closing their blinds at night, and it's just like there were a lot of random noises, and I started getting freaked out because I had my earbuds in, so I was constantly taking them out and being like, and looking into the darkness, expecting to see a monster or I don't know what I'm expecting to see in those moments, but I freaked myself out, almost ran back inside the house. I was like dealing my cards, trying to finish my game as quickly as possible, because my rigid thinking means you have to end this game before you go home. Your life depends on it, okay? It's not that dramatic, but whatever. So I was like trying to finish my game as quickly as I could so I could go back in, and like it was a whole thing. I'm gonna finish my lunch because I clearly can't talk and eat at the same time. Maybe it's better for your ears actually. So I'm gonna turn the camera off and then I'll check in with you later at some point. All right, it's 10:15 p.m. right now, and I thought I'd grab the camera because I was just sitting on the couch, paralyzed, and I was thinking about how common that is in my life. I have a lot of moments during the day when I'm just sitting there, stuck, you know? And I was thinking about how the day is just an endless succession of decisions. You constantly have to make decisions throughout the day of what you're gonna do next, etc. Which is why routine is so important for autistic people, because routine is maybe not the absence, but at least a great reduction in the decision making you have to do on a daily basis. When you don't have executive dysfunction and you have a lot of energy, you don't realize how much effort goes into making decisions on a daily basis. Like I was just there on the couch feeling stuck because in about 10 minutes I'm gonna have to close all the doors and windows and get the cats inside the house before the sun sets. And so I'm not gonna start anything now, because I'm not going to start anything if I have to stop in 10 minutes. But I also don't want to do it now because I want to leave the windows and doors open for as long as possible so that the house can cool down. And so I was just stuck, not knowing what to do with myself. It gives you this uncomfortable, like almost internal itch feeling, you know, like, what do we do now, you know? And I get this often, especially in burnout. That's the conclusion I've drawn for why routine is important for me, at least, because I was thinking a lot about routine and why it's so important for autistic people. And yes, there's an element of familiarity, knowing what to expect, which makes you feel safe and stuff, definitely. But I feel like it's, for me at least, 75% of it is just not having to make so many decisions. That's why I always wear kind of the same clothes and like I do kind of the same things when I get up and stuff. It's so that I don't have to add more decision making to my day. Like I don't have to decide what I'm gonna wear. I don't have to decide, like, I don't know, what I'm gonna drink for breakfast. I don't have to decide when I'm gonna take a shower, because I do it right away when I get up. I get up in the morning and then I get dressed, and you know, that's why routines happen, for me at least. My mental health is definitely better today, because this is the time when I would normally have like a panic attack or an anxiety attack thingy. It hasn't happened yet today, so. I went swimming tonight. It's only the second time I've used the pool, right? First time was with my partner, this time was the first time on my own. The whole thing about setting up this pool is that it could be refreshing, be a relief from the heat. But the thing is, because it's in direct sunlight all day long, the water gets super warm, so it's not refreshing at all. So we've purchased a like camping tarp thingy that we're gonna attach to the balcony and the nearby tree to create some shade so that the pool isn't so warm. But it's just an executive nightmare having a pool, because there are so many things to do, so many things to think about, and I keep forgetting things with my burnout brain, and I keep like getting in the pool and, oh no, I didn't take out the floating dispenser, I gotta go get out. And it's just like, when I finally get in, I'm like, this is not relaxing. And also like having to handle all the daily chores and tasks that would normally be split between my partner and I on my own is a lot for my executive functioning right now, because I don't have a lot of spoons. So yeah, I can definitely feel it, like just the daily stuff, just barely keeping the house running, looking after the cats, keeping myself fed and hydrated. That's about what my executive functioning can handle, and there's no way that I could fit anything else on top. You know, that's something I was thinking about today as well, is like, I'm so used to pushing myself past my limits, always pushing myself harder, because that's what I've been doing my whole life, because I've only known that I'm autistic for the last year and a half, more or less. So that's a very small chunk of time compared to the 26 years that came before that, where I was just so used to pushing myself too hard, because I thought that's what I was supposed to do, that now it's really, really hard for me to pace myself, and a lot of the time I don't even know how to do it. So it's especially tricky in burnout recovery when you only have a limited amount of energy available, and as soon as you regain just a little bit of energy, my default is to spend it at once, instead of being like, you know what, like, I'm gonna make the most of this extra little bit of energy I've been able to save to rest a bit more, so I can save up more energy, so that, you know, in the long run, when I have accumulated enough energy, I can start doing stuff again in a sustainable way. No, my default is still to, like, as soon as I have the tiniest little bit of energy, use it up right away. And it's also because I'm trying to make up for the time when I don't have energy and I can't get things done. So I'm trying to get things done when I have the energy. But it's not only useful stuff, it's also like fun activities, you know? Like today, I had a good night's sleep last night, and I was feeling a bit more energized earlier in the day, like not later in the day. I'm never feeling energized, but earlier in the day I was like, okay, I'm feeling good today. And my first instinct was like, oh, maybe I'll go into town, and I was like, no, like, rest, fucking settle down for a minute. It's crazy. Like, it's almost like my body, my nervous system becomes uncomfortable when I'm feeling somewhat regulated and energized, because it's not used to that, and it tries to come back to that familiar state of dysregulation and fatigue. Even though it's not comfortable, it feels familiar, because that was my default mode for a long time, I guess. I don't know. And so it's very hard for me when I'm feeling regulated and energized, like I was earlier today, which doesn't happen very often. It's very hard for me to be like, okay, I am not going to take this as an opportunity to do more. I'm gonna rest more, and I'm gonna try to remain in a regulated state. My first instinct is always to go do stuff, which always inevitably ends up with me being dysregulated. So yeah, still trying to teach myself, because I'm very good at accumulating stress and fatigue. I'm not very good at accumulating rest and regulation. So that's what I'm trying to focus on while getting the stuff that needs to be done, and feeling like I have a somewhat interesting life. I'm trying to balance all that, and it's tricky. Alright, I'm gonna go get the cats inside the house, close everything, and then I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. Maybe watch something, maybe start editing this vlog. Dunno, we'll see.